Hey guys, my name is Isaiah. I'm a six-figure shoe seller. My wife and I decided to create this series in order to document our journey as we ascend the ladder towards financial freedom. So I can't talk nearly as loudly as I would because my daughter's over there asleep. It's 11:43 at night. I'm trying to shoot this video for you guys, and I really don't want to wake her up. So I'm gonna be talking in a bit of a lower tone. Hopefully you guys can hear me, and hopefully I'm still gonna be relatively entertaining enough for you guys to go through the whole video. So we're doing a bit of an update since I was planning on dropping this video a couple of days ago. However, my power was out for like 24 of the last 48 hours because I don't know if someone hit a pole or a transformer exploded or what happened, but for some reason or another, my power was out and we couldn't do anything. But we still managed to like get our listings done. We still managed to get our packages sent out. So we lived, we made it, but it's been a definitely trying experience. But and today has been a challenge in and of itself. Like one of my primary suppliers are is now gone. Um, it's not that they're gone, it's just that like the way how it was set up initially won't be that way going forward. So my buy cost is probably about to increase from about $3.50 per pair to maybe around like seven, eight, nine, $10 a pair, something in that range. And that's fine, that's okay. I've been selling shoes for a really long time. At this point, it's been almost like 3 years, going on my fourth year this year. And I should be able to be equally successful with an $8 buy cost as I was with a $3.50 buy cost. Big downside about that 350 buy cost was that it incentivized me to buy more items, not necessarily buy the best items. So I created a business model that revolved around that, where my focus was to move as many items as I could. And I would have the lower prices in the market so I can have the highest sell through rate possible. And in turn, I wasn't making the most profit per pair. So going forward, we're gonna have to like incentivize profit per pair, make sure that I'm being really diligent with my spending and ensuring that the items that I'm picking up going forward, especially if I'm gonna be buying them for around $10 or so, we can sell those pairs for at least $28 plus, which should be our plans for Q2, Q3 is likely going to be, if we continue doing this, to have a ASP somewhere around like $35 to $40, if that's what we have to do. Now, if I end up getting a new supplier and I'm able to get inventory again for $4, $5, $6 a pair, then maybe I'll revisit and change the way how we're moving. But as of right now, our current moves are going to be trying to raise up the ASP and only buying pairs that are really really worth it for us. So next thing next is going to be, I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of credentials so y'all know I'm not capping in this next part of the video. So here's what we're going to go over. We're going to go over February 5th through the 11th, as well as February 12th through the 18th. As of today, it is February 21st. But we'll talk about both of those weeks in detail, which I couldn't do in the original version of this video because the 18th hadn't happened yet. But just to show that we're not capping, February 5th through 11th, this is my eBay page. We did $3,500 in sales. We're going to be using this number right here to refer to cash flow. What I mean by cash flow is simply the amount that eBay paid you. That's it. So eBay sends us payouts every single week. These payouts don't line up perfectly with what this number is because of we make money 7 days a week. However, we don't receive payouts 7 days a week, so it makes it a little bit difficult to get the exact number and like line it up with your bank account. But in general, eBay has sent me about $2,035 over this course of this week, or I made that amount. And then following that week, from February 12th to February 18th, we did $3,700 in sales and a little under $2,000 in our net sales. The reason why it's lower on this one is because I spent around $400 or so extra on shipping labels during this week. In addition to, my ASP is down by about 50 cents. I've been implementing some like unique markdown sales strategies, and that has been causing my ASP to kind of fall a little bit, but that is okay. We'll live. Again, like this is the number that we were talking about, that if I have to continue running the business that the way I've been running it, then I will likely try to pull this number up to around 30, 35, $40 per item. It's probably gonna be around like 33 to 40 if I want to make sure we can still remain profitable at that higher buy cost. Now, so here's going to be the things we're going to go over. One, what our cash flow average is. The reason why we need to know this is because we set targets previously. Let's talk about those for a second. Step one, remember, was paying our bills comfortably. So we need to do $7,000 or higher a month in our monthly income, which in other words is that cash flow number I was just showing you guys. The $7,000 a month required, if we divide that by 4.3, which will refer to our weekly cash flow, we need to make around $1,627 or $1,628 per week in cash flow. If we hit that number, we're on target to be able to cover both our business bills and our personal bills. If we miss that number, then we need to reevaluate and maybe do a couple of things differently so we can ensure that we're on track for that number. For the last 2 weeks, we've done pretty good with that. So from the 5th to the 11th, we did our cash flow average was $13.94. The way how I got that number was I took this number up here. I'm sorry, wrong number. I took the $2,035.20 and divided it by my number of transactions, and they gave me $13.94, which means that from the 5th to the 11th, I needed to sell 117 pairs in order to be on track for our goal. We ended up selling 146 pairs, which is really, really good. We were above where we wanted to be, and I worked about 50 hours that week. The items listed, output wise, we did really good. We listed 140 pairs of shoes, which was the goal, and we listed about 12 pieces of clothing. I have like a clothing death pile right now, so I'm trying to like work my way through that so that I can just because Zaya's gonna start walking soon. Well, not walking soon. She's gonna start crawling soon, and then eventually walking. And I just want to have like our house be as bare boned as possible so she can have space to roam while also not like getting into things she shouldn't be getting into. So I want to get rid of like all of my extra items, all my excess items, so we can have kind of a clean area for her to explore. Our cash flow target, as I mentioned, was $1,628 or whatever, and we hit $2,035 in cash flow, thus meaning that we're above it by about 407 bucks. And then finally, the efficiency metric is something that I'm tracking every week, which this one's based off of cash flow. Normally, I do it off of profit, but we are about $41 per hour worked. We worked 50 hours. We had $2,000 in cash flow, roughly $41 per hour worked. The biggest problem that I noticed during this week was that we'd had a lot of leakage when it comes to the money that we have coming in. So we got like good cash flow in, but we spent a bunch of money, at Popeyes, at Sonic, a couple of Dollar General trips, QT, so on and so forth. There are many places that we went to. We also bought 2 disc plates that week. We technically bought 1 disc plate, but the second disc plate was for we had to like cancel one, and the second one was a gift for our neighbor, which we're fine with. It's okay, but ultimately we need to be a little bit more diligent with our spending to ensure that we're not leaking too much money, and as much money as possible can get put back into the business or into other expenses that we have, so we can kind of continue building the snowball that we've built. So from the 12th to the 18th, the numbers are a little bit different. We did $1,900 in cash flow. Our cash flow average was about $12.20, which means that we needed to sell 133 pairs or 134 pairs last week. We sold 158 pairs, so once again, we're above where we wanted to be. But as you can see, my hours worked were substantially higher. That's because we had to try a bunch of different sourcing options during last week, so it made it so we had several days that were like 14, 16, 18 hours long, and it made it really, really hard for me. I was wondering why I was so tired this week, and the reason why I was so tired is because last week I worked 73 hours. Now, that's not including time that I spent on calls. That's not including, time that I spent with the family where I'm actively doing things. This is just like hours that should be delegated towards work, and that's what it ended up shaking out as over the 7 days of last week. It is what it is. Hopefully this week I can reduce that substantially, but so far I think I've already worked like 20 hours this week or something, so we're not doing too good of a job at keeping those hours down. Total number of items listed, we listed 161 items last week. 91 of those were pairs of shoes, 70 were clothing pieces. I ran out of shoes in the middle of last week because I ran out of money. And the reason for that is because from the 5th to the 11th, like a lot of my bills are paid, and those bills actually come out from the 12th to the 18th. So like for example, this $2,000, we actually receive a good portion of it from the 12th to the 18th. So that money had to get pushed out into paying additional bills, which made it so much more difficult for us to like be able to buy the quantity of inventory that we wanted to. It's fine, not a big deal. We still managed to pull it off, and bills were paid. And then our cash flow target, like I said, we're above it by about $300, and our efficiency metric, because we worked so many hours, was $26.30 an hour, which isn't where we want to be. Ideally, I want to be hovering between, for cash flow, probably like $40 an hour. But for like profit, I usually want to be hovering between like $30 to $35 an hour to make this like a little bit more worth it for me. So that's everything, guys.
It was
I
a
can.
tough week with the sourcing, but I think we still came out on top. I mean, on paper we came out on top, but I think we did really really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love it. Again, it was a really tough week. A lot of challenges came during this period of time, but we've been able to like make it. Our goal was to hit the $7,000 in cash flow,
Yeah,
and like I didn't expect for us to hit it in February. I was expecting this to be a March metric,
yeah.
but as of right now, we seem to be above schedule. And we just need to continue being consistent, continue pouring into the business to put ourselves in a position where, next month we do 7,600 in cash flow. A month after that, we do 8,400 in cash flow, so that we can get closer and closer to our goals, and then begin to take this money, pour some of it into savings, pour some of it into retirement funds, and then put ourselves in a new position and really really start working our way towards this financial freedom side. And I would love to talk to you guys about like our debt journey and stuff like that too. Only thing we need to do first is get out of this phase. So once we cleanly clear stage one, then we'll start working on stage two, paying off a bunch of debts, and I'll share that with you guys as well,
And
in addition to
I'll
the
also
way how the
track
sales goes.
I'll also like track it, like write it down and everything in a tracker.
Mhm. So, greatly appreciate y'all. Hopefully, provided some value to you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.